All right, everybody, we're going to get started here in a second. You can find seats. We should have enough. All right, we're going to get started, guys. Guys and gals. Air horn. You got a chance? Can you, yeah, Bernie will get down the sign in. Ooh. Okay. Hey, everybody. How's it going? I'm Jake. Thank you so much for coming to Chicago Cash Flow Breakfast Club. My partner over there, Jonathan. We'll do some intros here in a second. But thanks for coming. It's Saturday. It's beautiful. So we know you're dedicating some time to us. And we have a good space here, a good community of real estate investors that are looking to share knowledge and help everyone grow in financial freedom. So that's why we're here. And hopefully you guys enjoy the session that we've got today. I'm excited about some of the content we have prepared for you guys. So here's kind of our intro. We'll start with our original sponsor, although we've got some other sponsors to chat about. Into Kenya, they will be making their return at some point, but it is a coffee nonprofit company that donates all the proceeds to a village in Kenya to help build things like a well and a school. If you've been here last year, we usually have them in the back corner. We'll get them again sometime soon, but if anyone's interested in donating to that cause, just find us afterward. We'll figure out a way to do it for you. So I'm going to pass it to Jonathan to talk a little bit about our other sponsors here, because we've got some good sponsors.
Yeah, this is the first year we've had sponsors. So super excited this year because, you know, these aren't just random people who want to help us fund our good tasting donuts and coffee, but they're people that I know, like, and trust personally. And two of them are here today. So you want to get up for a second, Mark? Mark Ainley with GC Realty. You got 10 seconds.
Oh,
yeah.
Mark Ainley, GC Realty, co-host of Straight Chicago Investor. We do property management, but we also do the podcast. So if you ever know a good guest for the podcast, or you know a good topic, at the same time, if you know anyone that needs help with property management, you can help city and suburbs.
Beautiful.
Mark.
And Aaron with Brickhouse CPAs.
So I'm the owner of Brickhouse CPAs. I do taxes for real estate investors. So if you're needing any help with tax prep or tax advisory, certainly happy to be a resource. I'm also an investor myself, so I found a packet from that one as well.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Mark, for joining us. Hopefully the rest of our sponsors will also be here as well. But yeah, we have Josh Jones with Loan Depot. So if you're in need of any renovation financing, he's the main man for that. Renova, who I've worked personally multiple times as well in the hard money lending space, and Rose Insurance. And we need to fix our logo because Emron is no longer ARK Attorneys. He's officially Fulcrum Lawyers. So yeah, big change here. So yeah, we'll get the update for the next one.
That's simple. Great. Okay, so we'll introduce ourselves here. So I'll introduce our partner that we're down today, unfortunately, Judith Fascio. You guys have probably all met and seen her. Unfortunately, she has a sick child, so can't be here, but she is a real estate agent here in Chicago. She does a lot of work, as you guys probably know, in Northwest Indiana, but also throughout all of Chicagoland, and she's an investor herself. So she will be back next month. We miss her, but that's Judith. And then that's a very recent picture of me. Probably took it last week. I'm Jay Leisure, real estate broker here as well. I work with Jonathan's brokerage, REI Investors Brokerage. So I work with a lot of investor clients all over the city, anywhere. So that's me. That's my intro. I.
Rough final four.
Yeah, we made it there though. Yeah. Made it. Fine.
All right, yeah, that's me. My name's Jonathan Klum. I'm in the renovation space with Quality Builders and managing broker. I definitely tried to do too many things early on in real estate investing and regretting it now. So I have a couple of properties I'm trying to sell. So if anyone's interested, I'm selling 2 units in Great Crossing. That's a little bit more about me. I try to worry less about that other stuff and more about the land and what makes me me. And so that's really a lot of what we're out about. Cash Flow Breakfast Club is being different and figuring out who we are. Discord?
We're on the Discord. If anybody wants to scan that, we're all about scanning stuff here at Cash Flow Breakfast Club. We've got a Discord where people share things outside of these meetings, sometimes share videos, sometimes share strategies, contacts, connections. It's a way for, if for some reason you're wondering, hey, who's that person I talked to, or I forgot what their info was, you can always reach out to us, but also you can go to the Discord and keep the conversation going there too.
Yeah, I don't think.
All right, so the Discord link doesn't work. We will figure that out and we can email it out to you. Okay, so if you've been to our event before, this is kind of our quick disclaimers and overview of the event. So this is a community where we want people to talk and be active to learn and grow, and not just kind of like a regular networking event where maybe you bop around and meet 1 or 2 people and have, little Dunkin' Donuts. We got good donuts, main thing. But we're hopefully going to provide a space and cultivate a space where you can actually get to know people and learn and grow your knowledge no matter what level of investing that you have. So hopefully that's not you today, but we've got some great knowledge and some great content planned. Please, anytime it's a casual conversation, if you want to know more about a certain topic, like raise your hand, interject. That's what we love. That's, I think, where a lot of the learning takes place. So, if there's things that you don't fully understand or you want to follow up on, like reach out, raise your hand, come find us afterward. But we want to make sure everyone has a chance to understand what we're talking about and really just advance their knowledge. This is our small disclaimer. Jonathan and I are not lawyers. We're not attorneys. We have no actual advice. Do not sue us. We're getting ideas, but we do know lawyers and we do know accountants.
Yeah.
If you need some actual advice, we can refer you very easily to great people. And then here's a great picture of a previous event that we had. So the goal of this entire community, again, is to just grow your investing knowledge to become financially free through real estate. That's why we're here. So we're gonna do a member spotlight. We've got a really solid one. You might have seen, we've done a few of these in the past. It's basically someone that has some experience in a certain real estate strategy. We want them to kind of share their experience. So we've got Luke, who's gonna come up and go through a little bit of content here. I'll pass it to him, but we're pumped that he's here.
Awesome, thanks. Hey guys, I'm Luke Pellicker, real estate investor. I feel like still a newbie. Probably will always feel like a newbie, but and then want to go to the next slide here. So this is just some information about me. First and foremost, a member of Cash Flow Breakfast Club. Woo, great meetup. I work at DocuSign for my 9 to 5, my W-2, and here are some of my socials. So would love to connect with anyone and everyone. Jonathan reached out to me for this meetup specifically because we're talking about ADUs, accessory dwelling units. And he wanted me to share a bit about my experience doing a ADU in Chicago. So as I was going through, I did this in my first property that I purchased in 2022 in the Ravenswood neighborhood in Chicago. It was a 2-flat that had a non-conforming basement. And this was kind of my entrance into real estate. I knew absolutely nothing before purchasing this property. My wife just saw a building that she liked, and we just got it. So that is how we got into it. And then her dad is a real estate broker, and mentioned that we were in the pilot zone. So I think we'll get more into this later, but the ADU
being able to add a unit is something that has been challenging. I think it's getting easier now with some legislation, but there were only certain areas in Chicago that you could do it. We were in that area. So my father-in-law was like, hey, you should look into this. And it is, it was definitely a bigger project and undertaking than I had imagined. It took me about like a year and a half to 2 years to fully execute on it. That's not to say that's how long the process takes. I just had to kind of learn a lot to really make it happen. And I don't know like how far in the weeds I'm supposed to get with this or. Okay, cool. Because I know, yeah, I know we've got an expert on it. But my experience was basically, I found an architect to make, drawings for, a unit in my basement, which was a non-conforming unit. And I listed the architect there, and it took from the time that we got drawings from the architect to the time that the city gave us the permit to start work. It was from March to September. So it was like, I think like 5 months. And then the project itself took like another, it was ready the following March. So another like 6-7 months. I honestly, in terms of lessons learned, definitely if you're doing a project of that size, I would suggest like, really understanding what the financial implications are going to be. You don't necessarily, I didn't have to do that. The unit was already rented as a non-conforming unit, which I think many of us probably have one of those or know someone who has one of those. And it costs a lot of money to do this. At least in my case, it was a very expensive project. Turned out really nice, so that's just one photo that I included. But I think, sometimes I do wonder like, oh, could I have taken this capital, and put it towards just another building rather than, another unit in my basement. But all in all, I'm happy about it. And then just kind of, I guess, move on from that. I'd say, my future plans are to continue investing in real estate in Chicago. My plan right now is just to do another. This was a house hack, so another house hack. I've actually I house hacked another building after this, a 4-unit. And plan to do like another 3 or 4 unit on the north side of Chicago. And I'm also working with Judith to look at properties, single family homes in Northwest Indiana. And that's kind of more of like a burr strategy. And then timeline for that, I'd say looking to do another house hack this year and the property in Northwest Indiana. Really, whenever I find a good deal. How I found the right deal? Well, this photograph here, my wife found, and she just liked the look of it. And I don't know that I really think of it as a deal. There was not much financial analysis into it. But my 4-unit, I learned from this experience, and that was definitely something that I underwrote and was happy with the way that with the plan that I had for it to perform. So I'd say for that 4-unit in particular, I found that by it falling out of contract several times and us just being someone who put an offer in and kind of continue the seller until they went with us. So that I think is all I got.
What about questions? Yeah, I mean,
anyone? Sorry, I didn't see it. Yeah. So let me add a little disclaimer here because I think everyone's situation is different, and for us, the basement unit was So we're on the first floor. The tenants below us, shared utilities. So there's a single furnace. We're all of were in the basement for so there were two water heaters that were in the basement that had to be rerouted, new ductwork. Like I think we pretty much hit like most of the big ticket items, and it ended up being like 300,000 all in. So yeah, I often think like 30,000. I could have taken that. Made several other investments in other buildings, but it does, it does do well. I get the two bed. I get 2,400 a month for it right now.
What were you getting non-conforming?
Non-conforming, I was getting 1,400, which is also not that bad. So, yeah. But and it's kind of like list off some of the big ticket items. So generally, this is a 100-year-old building. You generally will have to upgrade the electrical service. I think we had to upgrade to 400 amps. Water service is another big ticket one that we had to do. We had to dig down because the ceiling height needs to be 7 feet. Didn't have to underpin, so in some cases you have to underpin if I'm a contractor who probably explain this better than me, but basically because of the footer. I'm not. All I know is we didn't have to underpin, which would have added more money. And yeah, the other big ticket items I would say were rerouting the utility lines for the whole building.
All the stuff you don't see.
Yeah.
These are the big things about it.
Yeah. And I mean, we're the part I'd say that for me now, I'm like, man, I don't know. I had a question like, would I have done this? Is I funded the whole thing with $100,000 from stock that I sold for my company, and then 200 on adjustable rate HELOC that I still have. So I'm like, it's would I do it again? I don't know.
Well, do you plan on holding this building long term?
So I think I might try to 1031 it up to like a 6-unit building. I don't even know if I need to do that, if I can just sell it outright, because it's our primary residence, the 1031. So no, I think I might sell it before the HELOC matures, because it's cash flowing at the moment. But I don't know that I want to pay down a $200,000 balance on HELOC.
I asked that question because whether it be 150 or it's hard to do anything under 150 to 200 for the most part, ADUs, but whether you keep it, was 150 or 300, you are putting some of that money towards all 3 or 4 units they have there. So kind of your 100-year-old building now, you're helping all the units last another 100 years. But at the same time, the longer you keep it, the more this strategy makes sense for the most part. So
Right.
It's all on a case by case scenario based on your own situation too. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. So we have all new water heaters for all the units, new furnaces. We're part of that. But part of it is, we're still continuing to find surprises just because it is a 100-year-old building. So part of the reason I kind of just want to try to transition onto a larger building, but I guess holding it and getting another building would probably be the most beneficial.
You know, the more-
Yeah, do those exist in Chicago? Of course, that.
did you get it appraised after?
I had not gotten it appraised. Yeah, should I?
Yeah, that might be though. I mean, good. Refinance.
Yeah, so the problem with refinancing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that I'd have to refinance the whole home into a new loan, and my rate is like 3. So,
But how much is the rate on the HELOC?
it's adjustable, so
Okay.
it's not good. It's like
That's what I was gonna say.
it's like 8%.
Oh, you may
Yeah.
be saving monthly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be saving monthly.
Well, but you're combining both of them together, right? You're taking
Yeah.
8 and the 3 So if it averaged out, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
Exactly, it's a blend that's higher than it doesn't make sense at the moment, but let's say in like 5 years, maybe it would.
once you get some more equity.
Right, because the mortgage that has the three rate on it is like, there's like close to 600,000 left on that, but the balance of the HELOC's 200,000.
yeah.
So at a certain point, that would make sense if rates trend down or stay where they're at. But
I mean, they are, but I'm a lender, so I'll just,
yeah, right now it doesn't make sense.
So is that the way that it used to look, or before that, it was just one sink only? Or was the whole basement empty and you had to break the whole thing out?
It was a full gut. But there was a unit down there. It was like, I mean, especially if somebody brand new to real estate, it was like scary up there. I got a family of 3, 4 with the dog, living out there. And, it's like the furnace closet is packed full of crap. I can't even access my furnace, which is in their unit. There's all this stuff all around it, and they've been living there for like 10 years. So I feel I was also, again, new to real estate, so I feel like not really entitled to go like change my furnace filter. It's probably been in there for 10 years. So yeah, it just was like, this seemed like the cleanest approach to a new real estate investor. I think clean is not a really good adjective, but I think it kind of is just the easiest way of just like, you're not, it's completely conforming and everything. So
What year did you put it into service?
the AU,
Yeah,
2024.
so you have not been reassessed since you put it into service.
So it was reassessed. So I taxed it. There you go.
By how much?
Yeah, so it was
Sorry,
like
not the tax bill, I just want to know about the assessed value.
assessed. No, I can pull that up pretty quick though. But the tax bill though, I know you're asking about, but it did go up by like close to a third. So it kind of makes sense. Like, all right, yeah, the third unit went up by a third. Unfortunately.
Did the inspector, when you first put in for the ADU, did they actually inspect all the other units when they came out, or?
No.
Or what was the reason you did all the additional work, just because it was a personal home, or?
So the water heaters were, so actually that's a good question. They were inspecting all of the new stuff, right? So it's like they're walking into this utility closet where all the water heaters are, so they just did all new water heaters. And then actually, so my furnace was changed because that was also part of the work, but my second floor unit's furnace was just left. My contractor did do something that kind of frustrated me. So I had put AC in the building. I already had the ductwork, but I got like the condensers up like a year before, and they're brand new. He put a brand new condenser in for my unit, and which this is probably my fault. Like, I just wasn't monitoring the project close enough. I'm like, man, I just bought this, So that's still sitting on my roof. I'm waiting for one of my other units to like have a condenser break and then try to convince someone to go get this off my roof. It's a good storage place, right?
Yeah, we weren't the contractor.
No, it's
So
not.
just clear that up.
It's New Explode. Great name.
What about the permits? Did the city check for previous permits, when they were issuing your ADU?
No,
No?
they,
Really?
I mean, they couldn't have, because my whole building is like just chock full of unpermitted work. I think, and I demoed the basement myself before anybody looked at it, so maybe they just figured it was totally unfinished. I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, my architect kind of handled all that, and I was more hands off then than I would be now. I was kind of scared, like, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, and it all worked out, and I was surprised because I had heard that they would. I mean, for instance, like you walk in the back door, which is the only entrance to this basement unit, and you can see the staircase, the back stairwell. It's like clearly not up to code. It's like slanted and not good. And they didn't say anything about that, and they for sure saw it. I don't know. Hopefully, no one's a city inspector here.
How did you manage the tenants that have been living there for 10 years?
We had to ask them to leave. There's no way to do the project with them there, and you know it was not a safe situation, I would say, for them or for us. Like I said, the furnace closet is like this was just full of stuff. And it's like unit was in really bad condition. I honestly didn't feel great that it was renting for 1,400. It was in the condition that it was. I mean, we didn't like raise rent or anything. That's what it was, what we got it. But yeah.
All right.
If you want a full story, episode 412.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, well, grab Luke, if you have any other questions, but we love his story, and we love when people that are here come up and share their stories so everybody else can learn and ask questions. So we're gonna move on to our 30-second member intros. If you guys have been here before, you know a little bit about it, but it's designed to get everybody to be comfortable and know who's in the room. Might be someone in the room that you want to talk to or want to know the background about. So the way that we typically do it is who you are, why you came, and what you might be looking for next in your real estate journey. So pretty brief, pretty easy.
Sorry, before we start,
Yeah.
can I have one more question?
Go ahead.
What would be the benefits of transforming a non-conforming unit to a conforming unit?
Great question. Can anyone in the room have some advice on that?
What's the question?
What would be the benefits of converting a non-conforming unit into a conforming unit?
I guess first and foremost, but if anything happens, you have your protection, because if you're renting to a non-conforming unit to someone, it's really changing it, as far as I'm on, I don't know in particular, but.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be, long-term in the selling, but in the short term,
Oh.
you're not really. You're putting a big investment to hold on to it for the long term, Yeah.
Actually.
right?
Sure. I think the reason for the non-conformings, if it's purely a zoning non-conformings, I wouldn't worry about it unless the building code non-conformings, then you have higher risk and liability. Because we're dealing with design in a way that we're not fully familiar with and was not designed in a permissible way. Thus, an architect, did not approve it, a structural engineer, probably not approve it. So there are liabilities to that. And so if your tenant reported you as having a violation, and then those violations are really there, and they see, well, you also have unpermitted work, that's an additional violation. And so, depending on the severity and the quantity of violations, you may have to go to building court rather than administrative hearings. So administrative hearings, you can more easily represent yourself, whereas building court, you probably have to have an attorney.
On that, a little further along on that, pissed off your tenant in the basement, they call 311.
Yeah.
They come in and all of a sudden you have, what he's saying is a list of violations, which usually say demo the basement altogether back to its normal, which you still need to get a permit for, or get permits to have it there, which is everything we're talking about here today. So, which is costly, timely, and a horrible pain in the butt, so.
Sounds like liability
Yes.
issue.
The liability short term, yeah.
Do the tenants get money then? Or do they sue? Or would they leave?
I mean, a lot of times in that scenario, they usually, negotiate themselves out of moving out sooner than later. But they usually have no rights, I think.
Yeah.
And you always run into the issue as you grow, as a landlord, a fire down there, first thing is WGN's gonna be out there saying it's a non-conforming, your smoke detectors weren't working. So it just is a risk on that side too.
All right, that help answer your question. Wonderful. Mark, you want to start with our member intro since you're going?
Oh, I already kind of introduced myself, Mark Ainley, GC Realty. There you go. I also am an investor as well too, so if off market deals, I invest in suburbs, in industrial and real estate look at home, so.
Pass around. Well, hey everyone, my name is Milwaukee. I'm a veteran. I invest in multi real estate here in Chicago. Looking to partnership with other veterans or just connect with other veterans to have a VA loan.
My name is Christina, first time investor looking to get my first property this year. You know, to help. Came here, you know, probably plan just to learn more information and then with other people.
Hi, my name is Steven. I will actually be speaking later, so I'll introduce myself in more in depth later.
There you go.
Morning, everybody. I'm Marie Sally, and I live in Flag in South Chicago. What my objective is to find a tenant. So I finally have some people in the pipeline now that it's getting nicer outside. It's not 0 degrees. Yeah, I'm just looking.
Hello everyone, my name is Kirtan. I'm the founder of Ivy Grow. Ivy Grow is a real estate platform like Zillow Redfin where you can browse properties. Use our REI search to find properties, and we have our in-house realtors who will help you find a house for a flat fee, 2,399. They don't charge 3% commission. Same if you want to sell a house, they would only sell your house for 2,399. My objective for this year is to grow my company as big as possible, and it was nice meeting you. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan. Those who find difficulty differentiating, that Jonathan is the one that everybody should look up to. I'm just a Jonathan, so I need to look at to make eye contact. And I've been coming to these meetings for months and a half me. Some reason haven't taken me out this yet. Thank you for that. I initially came here. I guess it seemed what's about just expose myself as something that I have no ground in, and that's why I continue to do so to this day. But I feel, I guess, more established, despite being totally green and naive, and just having this educational experience to be able to come back to when it's these discussions about these myriads of topics that I honestly still have precious little intelligent and background in for myself. But I do want to, beyond just coming back here and be able to have more conscious understanding of what I want to do with this ancient information and proceed with that. And I believe that the objective for myself for whenever I'm able to execute is to acquire the first property and maybe function as a landlord, maybe do something like a owner occupancy, something like that, to start. I do want to progress and see how far I can take myself in this real estate world. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. My name is Mark Safir. I'm a real estate broker with Pearson Realty Group right upstairs. I'm also an investor, and I came here to learn and to network. I'm looking also at 3 flats and veterans as well. We got to catch up. Also, I'm a veteran. Thank you.
Morning, name's Josh. I am still in the early stages of the real estate industry. I have close to 10 years of the construction industry on the commercial and industrial higher ed side. But I'm trying to put together my workflow system for this year for my investment strategies.
I'm Brandon. This is probably my second meeting this year so far. I do international business, so when I'm not traveling and trying to catch up. I've been in real estate, I don't know, much like Mark, close to 10 years or so, touch and go, mostly on the East Coast. I got a property back in Maryland, still looking to get, feet wet here in the Chicago area. So looking to connect with certain people, anybody, not certain. But everyone's been up so far. You guys have always connected up and reached out, so I appreciate the consistency. It's a good group, and what I'm looking for this year is, like I said, jump my feet in, get dirty, get wet, whatever it is, see what we can do here in Chicago. Thanks.
My name is Miguel Chicago, real estate broker, investor as well. I sit on the board for Chicago Association of Realtors and the neighborhood building owners alliance. Main objective for this year is just promoting a lot more pro-housing development across the city of Chicago, and make sure that the policies that benefit everybody, including renters, and products.
I'm standing so you can see me. Morning, I'm Ernie. I'm the only one that actually has a real tag. I am. So I'm a realtor, investor, and also contractor. So all the new people, this is an awesome group. It is. You actually will learn things and you will be able to network. So it's really good. Anyway, I'm a contractor. Think of me as a doctor, CPR, carpentry, plumbing, remodeling. I do it all from A to Z, apartment, building. The objective is to buy more property. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Kevin. I bought my first deal last year and I'm hoping to buy my next one, and don't have a name tag, but Bernie did help me out the other day. I had some flooding, so it's been very helpful being a part of this group.
Hey, I'm Aaron. Basically, biggest objective for 2026 is to grow my business and kind of be at capacity for where I want to be. And then one objective to complete next time. I'm having my first kid at the end of May, so I'm just trying to survive.
All right, you guys probably getting sick of me. Luke. I said my main objective this year, is just to buy more property. And one objective to be complete before the next meeting is to have looked at one more property, one more showing.
Morning, everyone. My name is Joe. Recent update, my 2026 main objective is to pick up another property. I've actually been really trying to look for off-market properties, see what I can find there. And got a couple of things in the works. Hopefully something will land within the next couple of weeks. An objective to complete prior to the next ones. Hopefully attend another meetup that I haven't been to. So something new, just kind of network with some more people and hopefully find some new.
You want to buy you?
Hi, my name is Monica. The recent updates are that I'm not working with family anymore. It pissed me off. To another, so now I'm just keeping an open mind and actually seriously considering which I said I never would do again because I cried too much before, but now I know more and I know other people.
Good.
So that's that.
Hey friends, I am Kisha. I own 2 units and I am working on not touching getting finished with my second 4 unit this year. So I'm looking for one more tenant. And I actually just got my AE pre-certification, right? My basement unit, non-conforming. Non-conforming, there's a tenant down there, but like 7 feet ceilings, the big windows, the 2 entrances and exits or whatever. It's just the electrical that has to be untangled from the public. So, I need to start with permits, contractors, all of that to get that done within the next, I don't know how long it's gonna take. I have no idea. Listen to the other stories, but that is what I will be working on. And then hopefully I will stop touching this building and move on to something else.
Yeah, all right.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Fred Moore, and I provide private money lending for commercial, for industrial, as well as multi-unit properties. And so my objective is always to, build my networks, okay, and try to be a vehicle that makes a difference between a person who is trying to, you know, get funding for further projects and provide an alternative means for them to get funding and get it faster than they would normally get it. And so I'm always happy to be here. Good to see you. It's been a while. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Just you know, build my network and obviously going to close of the projects that I do have, which is very rewarding, very time consuming, but they say the reward of any journey is the journey itself. So I'm having fun. Right.
Hi, my name is Mary. I am new to investing and I've been looking for my first house acquisition. I am still trying to figure out how to achieve financial independence, so I'm trying to learn more and connect with people. I was considering adding ADUs at the house sites I've been looking at, but also reconsidering that now. And then I'm also interested in potentially getting into co-living or shared housing, and especially interested in the social impact side of it. Yeah, looking for American starting.
Hi, my name is Viviana. It's my first time here. My daughter is the one who introduced me to it. The reason I'm here is I have insurance policy. But I'm looking, not that I have the financial independence, but I'm looking to change the gears of where I'm going. And I thought real estate is a good option to give me more time, a little bit more time, but no, I don't know. Looking at what you guys are saying, I don't know if that would be true. But I think that could be a source going to make a different investment and also even have the people that rent. So it's not only to my own benefit, but also look for something that we can create a different practice. Like the impact can be retroactive. That means we can benefit. It will be a win-win situation, not only for the people that own in real estate, but for the people that rent and the community that is around it. So that's something that I'm looking for.
Hello, I'm Glenn. I'm completely new to real estate. I'm your girlfriend and mom. And our objective is kind of to look into real estate for rent to own, so we can help out people who have a little bit harder time in having a home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Anomaly, and I got into real estate kind of by accident. And so I'm here now to really build my network and not be doing this by myself. But the reason I stayed in it, I have a multi-unit in Hermosa, so predominantly Latino neighborhood. I didn't want to gentrify the area. I wanted to give them an opportunity to rise and meet me where I was investing in this property. So I put value in it for the last 5 years, and then when I asked them to meet me where we reassess the rent, they did. And so now we're working with the family to be their house surrogate because they've been there renting for 16 years and they have nothing to show for it. So we're about to get this family who was terrified of raising rents to get their own property. So we're trying to do real estate with the heart and be a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Hello, my name is okay. My name is Melanie. I am a mortgage broker. I work for Loan Spot. We do a wide variety of loan programs. It's not really to sell myself, but we do offer like loans for investors as well as renovation loans. But one objective is to really be a strategist for people who are looking to invest in real estate, maybe first time investors, kind of planning and working with them and, you know, working with a variety of different situations to help get more investors, get investors to grow more in 2026.
Hello, my name is Samir. I'm actually from the DMV area. Anyone that's aware of that, so I actually just arrived in Chicago. So my objective is to, continue scaling. I have a condo with my business partner, in the DMV area. So, kind of came here to network, kind of continue, learning the landscape of the real estate market in Chicago. Yeah.
Hey, my name is Scott. I am investor, but more than anything, I think I'm a fanatic for fire because I hit my fire number a couple of years ago and I'm living my best life. So you guys can do it too. If anybody doesn't believe it, it actually can happen. I am in the middle of unloading a couple properties in the DC area in order to redeploy that capital somewhere else, most likely in Northwest Indiana. And so over the next couple of weeks, I've got some meetings to talk about that. And hopefully I'll have that wrapped up by the time we do Breakfast Club.
What does FIRE stand for if people don't know what that means?
Financial independence, retire early.
Hi, I'm Sophie. This is my first meeting. I've been in real estate since the mid-90s. I have a partner, he also is in real estate like me. We are actually trying to close 2 deals before July. One, I'm looking for a private investor to do a, what is it, like other people's money? What's the acronym for other people's money? Kind of a deal. And then the other property is a 4-unit in a suburb. So, and actually the first property that we're looking at, where I'm looking for a private investor as an ADU. So this is the perfect meeting for me today. So I can learn about ADUs in Chicago, and we're really excited about this one if it goes through. So I think there's some people I may be talking to later.
Nice. Okay.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Todd Stevenson, broker owner of Premier Chicago Real Estate. We're a small boutique real estate brokers. We focus on residential and commercial sales. I'm also an investor. I think my 2026, this is my 3rd meeting, 2026 objective, it was 4 value add properties by the end of the year. I have 2 under contract. One's a joint venture. The next one is a solo. And main objective, I am looking to expand my network with other, GCs as well as private money lenders is key. So I know Fred mentioned that, but private money lenders is key to scale is what I'm realizing if you want to do multiple projects. But yeah, just looking to network and, work with other like-minded individuals.
Hi, my name is Adam Barrera. I've been a real estate investor for 33 years and a real estate broker for 5 years. Last meeting, my objective was to stop working with residential buyers and only work with investors. And I've done that. So I'm not working with any residential buyers anymore, only investors. And my goal for 2026 is probably to work with maybe 5 more investors. And also I'm a growth leader at Real Estate of America. So to bring on 5 more realtors to Real Estate of America. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Nate Baldwin. I started doing real estate investment in my early 20s. These days I got 2 big projects. One is a development business that focuses on residential development here in the city. And the second is a new venture with a business partner of mine. Started 2 years ago in the private money lending space. We've done 46 deals in the last 2.5 years. So that part is going really well. And my goal here today is to continue to grow that side of the business.
Hi, my name is Alice. I am a DuPage County recent empty nester mom with Cook County dreams. So I'm currently navigating my first Section 8 rental in Will County. So that's been a journey in itself. I actually have an inspection right after this at 1 o'clock in West Humboldt Park. It's a single family home, and I'm trying to figure out how to, if it's got good potential to turn the basement into an ADU to generate more income. I'd like to navigate into different types of property rather than single family home investing out in the suburbs. And so this is my first project, also my first meeting. So thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Renee, and I had my real estate license for 14 years. I no longer have it because I'm doing other things now, but I have an investment property near Noble and Ohio. I want to say Ashland and Grand, but that's like the closer streets. And I've had that since 2011. In 2018, I built out the unfinished basement into a garden unit, and I have a lot of similar experiences to yours. A lot of things went wrong that I learned from. Since the city changed the zoning, I can now also build another additional dwelling unit in the back, but I'm also considering selling. And so I'm glad to hear all of you today that are looking for more investment property, because I'm the one you should talk to when we're done with the meeting. Thank you.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Marcus Williams. I'm a development manager at Prairie Ridge Development. Before that, I worked for 6 years for Scandler downtown, doing residential multifamily ground up projects. I'm also a creative finance guy, so I own 2 properties on the south side using subject to financing. So I got 2 south side using that. My objective for the year is to do a ground up development this year. I can find some time, so hopefully get a partner that has more time than I have, and I teach everybody how to do a rehab because I know a lot of those.
Hi, my name is Brad. I am a recovering general contractor. General contractor in San Francisco for 20 years. Absolutely loved it. Hit a wall. Moved out here about 3 years ago. Thought I wanted to get into property management. I got 2 apartment buildings and they're doing well, but it's just not something I'm passionate about. So I am now a renovation consultant. So for first timers, for people that have better things to do, for anyone that needs help, at the very front end, figuring out what is going to need to happen for your remodel. Hopefully I'll help you avoid the mistakes that people make, and then get you on your way. And then if you ever have questions or concerns or something just isn't sitting right, hopefully I can level the playing field by giving you, what the contractor is thinking and help you out with your project.
Good for you in the back.
Hey guys, my name is Raj. I'm currently constructing house tax from 2 flat in French Park. I bought it last year, 25 July. And recent updates, I have a tenant who hasn't expressed renewals yet, so I might be looking for a new tenant. It's a 2-bedroom unit, so I did increase the rent a little bit because previous owner didn't charge for parking, it was including rent, and utilities was included because it's I also have a non-conforming basement, so that's why I came here to learn more about ADUs in Chicago, since I learned that they opened the whole thing for Chicago. So, and also I have arbitrage business, so I'm looking to scale that as well. And next object is keeping everything and attending more meetups.
Okay. Yeah, just a couple left.
My name is Brittany. I'm a realtor and I service the Chicagoland area. I guess my main reason for coming here is for networking and for education on different investment strategies.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther. My goal this year is to continue to grow my short-term rental business, but also learn more about long-term. And I came for education about it. My name is Ruby. I have some idea that I really want this. So I'm just trying to get myself educated so I can get that next week.
You have one left. We have a mascot back here, but I don't think they can introduce themselves.
My name's Michael. This is Shay, so I'll introduce her for her. So I'm new to real estate. I got burnt out of my last career, so I decided to make a little bit of a pivot about a month ago. I started my real estate courses, so that's the update on my main objective. And hopefully by the next time we meet, I will have my license and off and running. So thanks.
All right, thanks. Okay, well, appreciate everybody bearing with us. We got a full room, so I know that was a lot of intros. Hopefully everybody heard a little bit about other people's stories and we can connect on a deeper level. We're gonna take like 2 minutes to bathrooms in the back, coffee, donuts, all that good stuff.
And then we have our guest speaker coming up for probably about 20 or 30 minutes on ADUs, our expert in house, Steven. So we're excited to have him. And we'll wrap probably right around noon. So everybody get up, do your thing. We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
All right, everybody, we're gonna get going.
You can whistle loud. Are you a whistler?
No, I'm not. I can't whistle that loud.
Maybe I bet Mark could whistle loud.
Can everyone take their seats? I'm gonna get started. Where's the edge again? Here's the edge?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Hello, my name is Steven Vance. I run a company called Chicago Cityscape. You can look it up, chicagocityscape.com. It is a real estate information platform. I'm also an urban planner. I graduated from UIC's Urban Planning College in 2010. I'm going to be talking about accessory dwelling units today. And so some of my bona fides are that I've been studying them since 2017. And then Mayor Lightfoot and Urban Land Institute Chicago put me on their task force with 30 other people to design an ADU policy. Now, do not blame me for the pilot program or any of our task force colleagues, because that is not what we recommended. So an ADU is what you see on the screen. However, many of you have already talked about your own ADUs, potential ADUs, and then Luke talked about his actual ADU, so I don't really need to belabor the details. But in Chicago, we have historically had them for 150 years. Many of them look like this. They do not have garages, although some of them, the word coach comes from the use of a horse. And so they were horse stables with a room above for the caretaker of the horse to live in or other domestic help. Another way that you'll see ADUs is in basements. And so this picture is taken in Bridgeport because I was giving a presentation to Bridgeport and Chinatown residents. And so I wanted to show that there are actually ADUs basically in every neighborhood of Chicago. But the future is a little different. Things will look a little different than in the past with ADUs. And so I've highlighted some new coach houses that are either built or under construction. And so the drawing was just, the coach house in the drawing was just permitted a few weeks ago by, it is being built by my friend Andrew. And this one is on the ground, as you can see, which is because the city reduced or eliminated the parking requirement recently. And so it makes it possible to do grade level coach houses, which anybody have a guess as to why that might be beneficial? I need at least 2 answers.
No, like if there's a basement, there could be flooding.
I need 3 answers.
Is it cheaper to build on the ground instead of over a garage?
Yes, like to the tune of $50,000. Wow. Okay, I need 1 more answer.
For wheelchair accessible, however?
Yes, and also not just wheelchair, but elderly people. Yeah. Oh, and then this one I think is now in service. You can go see it actually at 5201 North Lakewood. It's very prominent because it's a corner property and it reuses the brick of the original garage. So it looks really nice because it doesn't change the appearance too much. And that is a major factor for some people. So some of the benefits of ADUs, some of you have already talked about it as an income or revenue generator, but also it increases the supply of affordable housing. Now, you may not think so because of how much it costs to build it, but cost of construction doesn't always translate into rents because of the market conditions of that area. This particular family in the picture, the guy standing there is Brian, that is his mother-in-law, Louise, and that is his daughter that Louise is holding. And so Louise was downsizing from her house to the coach house to in the backyard of where Brian and his wife live. And that child is their first child. They now have a second child.
But they wanted Louise to live closer and actually to be a caretaker so that while Brian and his wife are working from home, the grandmother is taking care of the baby. And so that is another reason to allow ADUs. Also want to preface this presentation I've been giving for over 5 years. It is not really tailored to an audience of yours like yourselves, because for so long I've been trying to get people to advocate as a policy and also to talk to city council and other policymakers. And now that we have a permanent ADU ordinance that makes it possible to build this in more of the city, I've got to rejigger the presentation. And also I'm looking forward to getting your feedback. And I think we're going to have a great discussion. So actually you can interrupt me or raise your hand to interrupt me at any time. Again, this presentation is for policymakers and advocates. So we talk about the affordable housing gap in Chicago and Cook County and Illinois. It is in the hundreds of thousands. The number might be different every year, and also the way that that number is studied. But so ADUs can help fill that gap. Historically, ADUs have been around since, I said, 150 years ago. However, at some point in the 1950s, probably most likely with the 1957 adoption of the zoning code, or that era of the zoning code, banned most types of accessory buildings and accessory units. And the reason was likely a fear of overcrowding and unsafe housing conditions across the city when the city had reached its peak population of 1 million more people than we have today. So ADUs were re-legalized in 2021, and this happened because Mayor Emanuel had put ADUs in the 5-year housing plan in 2019. And so then Mayor Emanuel lost his re-election. Mayor Lightfoot's administration thankfully kept that idea going, established the task force, had policy people in her housing department and her office to develop the policy that was adopted in May 1, 2021. As I said, our task force did not recommend basically any of the things in the pilot program, but that was the negotiation between the Lightfoot administration and her city council allies to get something approved. And so the blue areas represent the 5 pilot areas where you were allowed to build an ADU in certain zoning districts. So it was, I think, only the RS2, 3, and RT4 zoning district. So if you had a property in a different type of zoning district, you were not eligible to build an ADU. How many of you own a property that you do not live in? Sorry. And then keep your hands raised. How many of you know the zoning district in Chicago of that property? Okay. What is the zoning district of your property in Chicago?
Wait, no, I don't.
You don't know. What is the zoning district of your property in Chicago? Okay. Do you know what that means?
I can have up to 400 units.
Yeah. Do you know your lot size?
Enough to have the 4?
There you go. That is a sufficient answer. Thank you. So the recap of the pilot program, which ended March 31st, 2026, is that the pilot areas covered about 20% of the city by land area. Doesn't really include all the zoning districts. So it's actually, the number could be slightly more or less, like give a point or two. As of April 16th, there have been 415 projects with 492 units permitted. I am not sure exactly how many of those were constructed and are in service. And a minority of them are the coach house type, but that is the majority of the visible type. And so only 23% of the units permitted are in coach houses. And now, anybody want to take a guess as to how much a coach house construction costs?
150 square foot.
250 per square. Oh, I don't know a per square foot answer. Okay, but what's that times 500 square feet? Okay, so it's more than double that.
I would say as much as it costs to build a regular house.
Pretty much. However, if you do it on the ground, you can save about $50,000. So the family I showed you earlier, he was not able to do it on the ground because he built it before the rules change. And he estimates that it'd be $50,000 cheaper. Yeah.
So I mentioned that I have a 3-flat, and then there's a garage that's built in the back that was in 2014. So I was told by the architect that I could take the garage down, put a new garage and then put an ADU above that, because the lot can hold 4 units, no more than 4. Would you recommend me putting the unit on the ground or putting the garage and then the unit above?
Well, it depends. Do you want to have parking?
Yeah, and I think for 50,000, that's probably worth the difference.
And do you know how wide the lot is?
25?
So it would be possible to have one parking on the ground and a ground level coach house to the side of it and over the car.
Can't have
So you-
3 separate dwellings on the same though. He said I couldn't build the unit, additional dwelling unit on the ground next to the garage. It has to be attached somehow to an existing property on the unit.
I don't necessarily agree, but also there are probably situations that I'm not aware of fully in that situation, or factors that I'm not aware of. So it's hard for me to do an analysis on the fly, but hopefully I'll give you enough information that you can kind of do the analysis yourself. And then I do have, I will talk about a database of architects and contractors and lenders now. So starting April 1st, so that was 17 days ago, the pilot program turned into a permanent program. And so those 5 pilot areas are dissolved. However, they are still active in a way that I'll show you when I get to the maps. But we went from 20% coverage of the city allowing ADUs to about 60% coverage of the city allowing ADUs, and with options to get to 100%. Those people who I asked to raise your hands 2 times, how many of you know the older person of your property?
The what?
The older person, the city council member, the older person. Not enough of you. This will become important in a second when I bring the maps. So I mentioned that, well, very few of you know the zoning district. You should know the zoning district of your property. There are 2 ways to look it up. You can use secondcityzoning.org, or you can use my website, chicagocityscape.com/ADU. So my website does have a subscription model, but the ADU lookup is a free use of the website. Yes.
Would the zoning district be included in the legal property description of a piece of property?
Yeah.
It might, but that could also be outdated because your zoning district can change at any time.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So the maps. This is not the most useful way to present a map because they're really small, so you can't necessarily identify where your property is. But the green areas represent where you can build a coach house or an ADU. And then the purple areas representing, oh yeah, that your older person has to opt in your block to allow an ADU if you have an RS zoning district. So this is why knowing your zoning district is so important, and knowing your older person is so important. So you have an RT4 zoning, that is great, but that is a minority of the zoning types in residential areas of the city. RS, 1, 2, or 3, but usually 3 is the most common type. It sucks. It allows you to build 1 unit. If you have a larger lot, you could build 2 units. Or if a majority of the other houses on the same side of your block also have 2 units, you can have 2 units too. But the ADU ordinance changes that, so that if you are in one of the green areas, that calculation that I just laid out doesn't really matter because the ADU addition is not subject to that same calculation. But you can be clever when you're identifying properties to do the calculation. So one of you said that you were, well, many of you said that you were looking to buy a property, or no, you're going to do an inspection in Humboldt Park later today, and it's a single family house, right? Do you know the zoning district?
I think I looked it up the other day. I think it's RS4.
RT4?
Or T4.
Okay, awesome. So you're not capped at 2 units in the main house. You would be capped at 4 units in the main house. You could then also have a coach house, and you can also have an ADU. So that's 6 units. Now that's probably gonna be really difficult depending on how the house is designed right now. But one of the developer of the coach house I said at 5201 North Lakewood, that's his strategy, is that he identifies the zoning districts that allow him to maximize the number of units and also incorporate the ADU ordinance. And then he's very, his plan, his process is equipped to also add floors. And so that's his preferred way of adding more square footage or more units, is adding floors. or adding rear additions.
24 by 124, does that matter?
In this case, not really.
Okay.
Because it's only 1 foot short in each direction of the standard. It doesn't matter.
Did you say RT4 can have up to 6 units on the property?
So I'll do the math. You have a 3,125 square foot lot divided by 1,000.
Which is a standard lot.
Which is a
right?
standard
Which
lot in
is
Chicago.
how wide and
So it's 25 feet wide, 125 feet long, give or take inches or a foot. You only need 3,000 square feet to have 3 dwelling units. A 4th can be added if it's made accessible to people with disabilities. So this is more useful in new construction. So you have a ground floor unit, and then you have upper units. Your height limit becomes 42 feet instead of 38 feet. Then you can add an ADU. However, the house has to be at least 20 years old. So new construction, 20 years old doesn't really line up yet. And you can have a coach house.
I feel like, yeah, I already have to talk to an architect. I got the approval. I have a coach house on the 2nd floor with a garage, like a 2-car garage underneath, and like a whole big empty space that I use for storage, like 1,100 square feet. And then the coach house on top, and then the front house, I got 2 approved, and then the basement I'm going to do that ADU. Now I'm like, I need to talk to somebody to see if I can turn my storage into another unit. Thank you for that.
We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the other map. So RS, opt-in area, your older person. So the reason there are so many different colors in this map is because the older person, when they choose to opt in those RS zoning districts in their ward, they can apply 0, 1, 2, or 3 restrictions on your development. Can't read them on this screen. The blue is no restrictions. Hooray! Hopefully you have property in a blue area. The yellow is annual limits and owner occupancy requirements. So if you're not going to live there, you will not be able to do an ADU. The annual limits refers to this idea that we don't want an influx of ADUs too rapidly on our block. And so this limits the block to 1, 2, or 3 ADUs per year, depending on the underlying zoning district. So if it's RS1, that's 1 ADU per year. RS2, that's 2 ADUs per year. RS3, that's 3 ADUs per year. And then the third restriction that's possible is an administrative adjustment would be required. This is annoying, but it's easy. It also costs $500, but that is not the hardest thing to do it. But the thing is, when it's paired with other restrictions, it just kind of saddens me. Again, not the policy that I wanted or any of our task force members wanted. Yes.
So when it comes to owner occupancy, obviously you need to be an owner occupant at the time of construction of the ADU, but is there any restrictions post construction and delivery? So someone can live in a building for a year, get an ADU done, and then move right out? Is that?
I think that's correct. So you do need to certify at the time of your permit issuance that you are living there. But it is not a long-term requirement. Which is good. And because other cities and other states do have a perpetual requirement, which makes it difficult to sell a house. Because lenders don't like to have, well, you would know, like, what are they called? Like title and
yes, title issues.
Title issues, yeah.
Yes.
So if my property is RT4 and I have an email from the alderman that I'm good to go with the ADU, then I should not have an issue with zoning, right?
No, sorry, that is not correct. An email from the alderperson is not an official communication about the status of your property.
So in addition to that, in the RT4 zoning, what else would I have to do to make sure that?
So again, I did not tailor this presentation fully to your audience, but what's missing here is that you do have to apply for a pre-certification So before you can apply for your building permit to build an ADU, you have to apply for a pre-certification, which is done by the Department of Housing, not by the Department of Buildings. And so that is a form to verify that your address is in an eligible area. So that's actually a good thing, because then it won't let you pass through if you're not in an eligible area. And then it also will walk you through some of these requirements, like the owner occupancy requirement, or one of the other requirements that was on the map. And then just going to skip ahead to this one. One of the other requirements is that if you're building a coach house, you have to use contractors and subcontractors who are participating in registered apprenticeship programs. Abbreviated to RAP, and many people are calling this the union labor requirement. It's not the same thing, but they have a lot of overlap. So in that pre-certification form, and you're like, you type in your address and you say, I'm building a coach house type rather than a different type. It'll then ask you, okay, are you going to use a registered apprenticeship program? Currently, there is a tick box that you check yes, and you move on with your life. In the future, there will probably be rules and documentation requirements, but not currently.
So that's
Yeah.
And silly question, which does that generally just increase the cost of labor for your project then?
Probably.
What's the minimum?
I'd say another issue is that there is not a list of existing contractors who are participant or have a registered apprenticeship program. That seems kind of a problem.
Every alderman's brother-in-law. That's how Chicago works.
So some of the other rules for interior homes is that they are not subject to FAR limitations, minimum lot area per unit limitations, and open space requirements, which is great. They're basically just bonus units that most of the zoning standards are waived. But that being said, the interior ADU must fit within the profile or the existing walls of your building. However, if you do have a thing what I call unused zoning capacity, you may be able to expand the building at the same time that you're constructing the ADU. But that is, you have to do a zoning analysis to figure out, are you currently exceeding your zoning standards like FAR or minimum lot area or open space, or are you not? And if you are not exceeding those, then you may be able to expand the building to meet those. You do need a 7-foot minimum ceiling height. It used to be 7.5 feet, but in the building code update in 2019, they reduced it from 7.5 to 7 feet. There are options to go even lower to get around soffits, ducts, pipes, other things. So I think you're allowed like up to 25% of the ceiling area can be as low as 6 foot 8 inches to get around those existing obstructions. And then the ADU will need its own electrical panel, electrical service, not electrical service, but at least a sub panel, I believe. Another rule for the coach houses is that they do have a floor area cap of 60% of your rear yard setback. So you will have to do zoning math. On chicagocityscape.com/ADU, there is a zoning math worksheet to calculate what this floor area cap for your property might be if you were building a coach house. Generally on a standard size lot, this comes out to about 450 square feet, which is quite a small coach house that would be spending $300,000 for. However, if you have a larger lot or a double-sized lot, this number could be higher. So the largest coach house I've seen under construction in Chicago is about 800 square feet, which is large enough for a small 2-bedroom, 1-bath. But a lot of coach houses are at least experienced in other cities, including Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Vancouver, British Columbia, is that a lot of ADUs are actually rented for free to family and friends, about 15 to 20%. And so I expect a lot of coach houses will actually be in that kind of situation where the value is not rental, the value is offering something to your family or just having extra space. And so Brian and his family, where his mother-in-law live, that was the case. That, well, actually, I think she was paying a little bit of rent. Here are some more details on the registered apprenticeship program. Like I said, at the moment, all it requires is ticking a box that you intend to comply. In the future, there will be rules established by the Department of Housing Commissioner. But if you wanted to do some more research, this would be the code section of the city code. And then also the U.S. Department of Labor has additional rules. And then I think the state of Illinois Department of Labor or Economic Development has additional guidance. But so far, it doesn't really seem that anybody knows what this means for Chicago. And I hope that we can all figure it out. But also at the same time, when you meet your older person, tell them that this could be a barrier to construction of your coach house. And then it's probably the only way that this is going to change is in maybe 6 months to 2 years. City council realizes that they put a huge barrier to construction, to development, and that maybe they'll revisit this rule.
For insurance on coach houses, is it considered a separate building or part of the original dwelling?
I do not know. Does anybody else know?
Existing.
Is it?
It's part of the building. When you get insurance policy, you should all be tied in to one policy.
I've been having a hard time finding that for a coach house that I have on my property. And they always find it as a second building. So that's why I'm looking into like if you guys discuss this or certain insurance.
Insurance is not something I've considered. I do have, like on the Chicago Cityscape website, I do have a lot of information about how much your assessed value might go up based on past experience, how much other people have paid for their ADUs. And 5 lenders who are capable of talking to you about lending for ADUs, but I don't have anything about insurance, so I'll look into that.
I know I would have to do like to live in one of them. So that's but the other one is to consider like a rental property, even though it's the same lot. So I'm just struggling with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cool.
This has come up in North Carolina actually, where we have a old house that's like a ranch property, 3 bedrooms, nice. That's huge backyard, they'll build like a 4 units, maybe they can build it, connect the two with like a storage area. Doesn't matter what the hell it is, you just have to touch.
Oh, right.
Claim that's the same property. So therefore, you might be able to get away with just building some structure on storage enclosed, and it doesn't share connection, but it's just touching. It can become auxiliary property to your original structure.
Yeah, that's possible here in Chicago as well. I just don't know how that affects the insurance, but a lot of, if you like go to look at Bucktown, new construction single family houses, largely in Bucktown, you'll see they have like an enclosed gangway between the principal dwelling and the rooftop or the rooftop deck on the garage. And so that makes the whole thing actually one building.
Yeah.
And so the garage is no longer an accessory building, and the garage can be larger because garages are subject to caps on their size as well. But if it's now attached to the house via this enclosed gangway, then limitations are different.
Yeah, just to add on that, along the 606, I've noticed a lot of, and it's literally connecting one structure to the other. It's not even enclosed. It's an elevated path. And I wonder just about the zoning compliance. How do they get around that?
So they usually have to get a variation from the Zoning Board of Appeals to do that because it does violate the side setback and the rear yard requirement. So with coach houses specifically, there is a minimum 15-foot separation distance between the coach house and the principal house. And I believe you can get a variation, reduce that to 10 feet in case you have a shorter or a shallower lot depth. But it is different than that situation where you're attaching the house to the garage. Because they're trying to maximize the rooftop deck and the patio attached, like the sort of 4-foot above grade patio. You can take another picture of this one about the RAP. Again, we are all still learning together about what the RAP means. So this is brief. This is just generic information of what RAPs are according to US federal regulations. So I don't exactly know how they're going to work here in Chicago. I don't think anybody else knows either.
What's RAP?
Registered Apprenticeship Program. So we've had a great discussion as we've been going. Let's keep going. I do want to point out there is advocacy that all of you can participate in. I've made it super easy. Like they said earlier, QR codes are great. We like to scan everything. This will lead you to a letter writing campaign where you type in your name, your address, and then hit start writing. And then it will propose a letter to your two state legislators, your state senator and your state representative. There is currently a bill in Springfield, part of the governor's build plan, that would legalize ADUs in every single residential zoning district in every municipality in every part of the state. And it's possible that it would supersede some of the local regulations that we have, like those requirements on the map and potentially the registered apprenticeship program, because it says in the proposed bill that municipalities cannot set standards on ADUs that they don't set on single family houses. And so I'm also part of a group called Abundant Housing Illinois. It is a local UNDI group. And so I was in Springfield with 39 of my volunteer colleagues to meet with our legislators. We also ran into the governor. He held up our t-shirt, so that was cool. Yeah, so there is, let's say, a low to medium level of support in Springfield right now to pass the governor's build plan. Other things that it would do would legalize 2 through 8 unit houses on various size lots. So in Chicago, that would mean allowing 4 units on literally every single residentially owned property. We would go from, a default or a minimum of 1 to 4. And if you have a larger property, it could be 6 or 8. Another one, a permitting. It would set deadlines for getting your permit. Luke, you said your permit went from March to September. The current the bill as written proposes, I think, a 30-day deadline for the city. And if cities fail to meet that deadline, you would be allowed to hire a third party to finish the review for you at the same cost as what the city would charge. So you wouldn't necessarily be saving money, but you would be saving a lot of time. In inspections, that same bill proposes a 2-day turnaround for inspections. So you make the request and the inspector should be there within 2 days. I hear that the typical in Chicago is like 21 days. And then also I have a lot of data on the permitting timelines. It is between 10 days if you have a self-cert architect and 100 days if you don't. So I hope that you'll all send a letter to your legislators saying that you would like them to support the bill plan. And then that's my email address. Oh, yeah.
Oh, for existing grandfathered in coach houses, taxes change after this goes into effect, or now that it has, the first this month?
I don't think they should, but so the assessor does look at building permits. So when they reassess your property, they will look at building permits, but I think they also look at building permits ahead of the next reassessment year. And so that could change your taxes. However, taxes are, have so many other inputs. It's really the assessed value that is modified by the addition of an ADU. And so I think the analysis that I did a few months ago is that your assessed value, you should expect it to go up by 15 to 25%, but that is not a one-to-one translation to your tax bill change, because your tax bill is based on so many other factors, like whether or not you're in a TIF district or which library district you're in if you have a property in a different city. But yeah, expect that your assessed value will go up 15 to 25%. Now, if your property value goes up even higher, then it seems like that would be a net positive.
I'm just wondering if it was like a 3 flat and then you had an ADU like a coach house and then a 2 flat and they were all the same value. Would the tax implications be different or would they?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It also depends on your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do people usually fund these with a HELOC if they don't have cash, or like what are typical financing options?
So I don't know, I can tell you what the typical financing options are, but I don't know what the history of what people are using is, because I've only talked to a handful of people about their process. So Ryan, oops, this person, Brian hosted a tour with AIA Chicago a couple of years ago to visit his coach house right before his mother-in-law moved in. He used Green State Credit Union. The lender there, his name is Greg Moore. And the thing is, like, I think several of you mentioned, or maybe one of you two mentioned, that a lot of people are wrapping up, or no, it's Luke. You're wrapping up other systems change in the building at the same time that you build an ADU. That seems to be really common. And so people are getting loans to do that entire project, not just to build the ADU. And so some of the pricing that I've seen and some of the, like, there's an ADU renovation for $800,000, but it's like, no, it was that they basically got rehabbed the entire house and built an ADU with the same package of design, permit, and money. The ADU permit or ADU construction costs I've seen that are self-reported in the building permit system, the median, oh gosh, what was, I was just looking at it on my phone. The median was like $150,000. So that means 50% of them cost less than that and 50% of them cost more than that. But again, some of those were whole house renovations, not just the ADU. And then, oh, HELOC. I believe that is a typical one used only for the basements because I don't think people have enough value or equity in their property to get a HELOC large enough to build a coach house. That's my guess though.
Yeah, I was considering a house hack that had a large attic, and I haven't heard anyone talk about attics yet, so I don't know if
There, on my website, there are some statistics of how many basement, coach houses, and attics. Like I said, coach houses were 23%. Attics are probably 1%. Because, well, I'm gonna guess again, exiting requirements, where the stairs can be built if you don't already have a sufficient stair, like a code compliant stair, because that will take up a lot of space. Depending on how clever everybody is in this project, you may be able to use existing stairs because the code does allow for existing buildings that stairs that deviate only so much are allowed to remain and be used as access to a new unit. So sometimes you can save your stairs. I'm looking for a hand that hasn't been raised yet. Okay.
I was just gonna comment on there's this company called Renovai that I use that will take into account the after renovation value to find you a HELOC. So if you're looking at a new property, you're not gonna have a lot of equity. So I don't know, the HELOC might be challenging, but Renovai was helpful with that because they take into account the after renovation value of the property.
Yeah, I was just looking at Renify yesterday. So I believe they don't do the lending themselves, but they validate your project and then connect you with a credit union actually. And so somebody else I was talking to this week, she's in the middle of building out a basement unit. And so she used Renify and they connected her with a credit union called US Alliance.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then which group did you donate to become a member of the credit union?
Oh, I don't know. It's years ago. I can't remember.
Well, one of the options for her was Ducks Unlimited. So it's an environmental conservation group. So she donated that one and became a member of the credit union. I own a property. I bought a 2-flat in Garfield Park. I'm not using the ADU ordinance because it has unused zoning capacity. It is an RT4 on a standard size lot. And so my loan is a conventional construction turned into permanent mortgage automatically after 1 year from BMO. And they were the 7th lender I talked to before I found one that was willing to loan on my properties. And I have a list of all of them. It was really frustrating. And so like BMO, I did not, they said yes, like immediately. And then we closed so efficiently. They're so far so good to work with, but I picked them last because I thought they were the least likely to do this project. But several lenders I talked to only wanted to loan on a 2-unit. They didn't want to add a 3rd unit because that was part of what I was doing, is adding the 3rd unit, which is just strange because like conventional lending allows up to 4 units, or sorry, conforming conventional loans allow up to 4 units. And so it's just it was a frustrating process. But so far, Green State Credit Union, Renify, BMO are ones that lenders I've heard have actually done this, and people have had decent experiences.
You'll be around for more questions,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up.
Okay.
So we can get a little bit more
Yeah.
networking in, and they can get a couple more questions in with
Give it
you.
up for Stephen.
Give it again.
Great job. Thank you so much for all your insights. Hopefully everyone appreciated that as much as I personally did. That was incredible. Thanks for coming. Our next event is May 16th, 3rd Saturday of the month, right here, 9:45. We'll push out what the topic is. And yeah, appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and we're wrapped up.
Thank you very much.
Question, if you think I can get that presentation?
Yeah. Yep. Perfect. You registered, right?
Yeah, I think it's registered like during like via meetup.
Yep. We can download it as a PDF and then put it up with
Perfect. Thank you very much.
We went to start about it, so you guys will come there. So what, have some idea. My daughter is having lots of fun.
There's advantages for sure. Right now, I would personally prefer you to Aaron. Who's here earlier. I can connect you with those issues on our. It's sponsored the group.